This is Father Andrew Ritchie, and you're listening to Catholic Inspiration, a podcast from my website at studyprayserve.com. These homilies, presentations, and retreats form part of my ministry as a Catholic priest for the Diocese of Superior. And now I invite you to open your hearts to some Catholic inspiration. Today is Wednesday after Epiphany, and our first reading is taken from the first letter of John, chapter 4, verses 11 to 18. Beloved, if God so loved us, we also must love one another. No one has ever seen God, yet if we love one another, God remains in us, and His love is brought to perfection in us. This is how we know that we remain in Him and He in us, that He has given us of His Spirit. Moreover, we have seen and testify that the Father sent His Son as Savior of the world. Whoever acknowledges that Jesus is the Son of God, God remains in Him and He in God. We've come to know and to believe in the love God has for us. God is love, and whoever remains in love remains in God and God in him. In this, love brought to perfection among us, that we have confidence on the day of judgment, because as He is, so are we in this world. There is no fear in love, but perfect love drives out fear, because fear has to do with punishment. And so one who fears is not yet perfect in love. This passage is a continuation of what we heard yesterday. God is love. God is the source of all of our love. It is out of divine love that we draw strength. It is out of the example of Jesus that we configure our hearts. And so this continues that line of thinking, but then it gives us something precious to hold on to. There is no fear in love, but perfect love drives out fear. I take great comfort in that. I want you to pause and reflect for a moment upon this fact. We are often driven by fear, and the fears are as unique as each one of us. Yes, there are some common ones that a lot of people share and have. Yes, there are lots of different types of fear that, admittedly, they get under our skin. But I also want to point out that fear is often tailor-made to our experience and background. And this is one of Satan's favorite ways to push all our buttons and drive us into isolation. And so one of the best antidotes for fear is to, in faith, embrace the commandment to love. Our faith gives us strength, gives us perspective, and gives us hope so that we can engage life. And our faith then allows us to pick up really as, if you will, a handle that we can grab hold of. Living the commandment to love means, as I mentioned yesterday, we're going to make sacrifices. But it also means, once we understand that we are striving for the best of the beloved, we want what's best, and we're going to make our sacrifices and care, suddenly fear diminishes because we have clarity of focus. We understand who we are. We understand what we are about. We understand how God continues to sustain us. And we're carrying out this love because God loved us first. And thus the love that God has for us, the love that fills our hearts when we're empty, allows us to engage the darkness of life. And friends, there's plenty of dark corners in our hearts where Satan would love to just pile on the fear and lead us into the prison of our own making. So today, we have to really be honest about a very uncomfortable topic. What are we afraid of? What are our fears right now? This is personal, and it can be awkward. It can even be embarrassing. But the minute that we face our fears, the minute we call them what they are, the minute we recognize what it is we're afraid of, that's when we can say, Lord, help me. And if we are afraid of something that's going on in our life right now, to ask, Lord, where is love lacking right now? Sometimes the fears are directed for ourselves. We're paralyzing ourselves out of fear. And sometimes we say, Lord, help me to love myself enough so that I can do what needs to be done. But sometimes it's reaching out in a relationship. Maybe we're afraid to deal with a hard topic. Maybe we're afraid to confront a situation that's not good. Maybe we're afraid because, frankly, we don't want to disturb the status quo and yet we want more. We want it to be better. Well, then, out of our love for the people around us, to be able to say and recognize first in our prayer, Lord, help me to love authentically, and then out of that authentic love, to want what's best for one another, we say, okay, Lord, give me the strength to approach the people in my life out of love and out of a desire for what's best, to even engage in hard topics, hard conversations, and yet to do so in a manner that's respectful, kind, charitable, to recognize we're all in need of grace. And Lord knows, without your love, Lord, none of this can happen. It's when the love of God is in our hearts that we have courage to engage whatever in our life is tearing us apart in fear, because we cling to the love that God has for us. We literally turn to Jesus, say, Lord, fill up my heart with your love so that I can engage in this day at full power to seek the best of all those that are part of my life. When we do that, fear is driven out, and we are able to live to full stature as sons and daughters of God, and have hearts that are open to receiving the grace that God pours into us and into our world. God bless you all. This is Father Andrew, and I hope this podcast inspires your faith. Now, if you found it helpful, please share it with a friend, and you can help me by leaving a rating and a review. I keep all my listeners in my daily prayers, and I ask for your prayers in return. God bless you, my friends.